Here in flat storage, we have one of our most well-known and important pieces, the crazy quilt called My Crazy Dream. We did not give it that title. That is a title that the maker actually gave it, and embroidered here in the corner. Hernandred Ricard is the maker of the quilt, and this is her title for it, My Crazy Dream. On the other corner, we see a couple of things. She's given us dates and locations, which we always love as quilt researchers. Boston, 1877, Haverhill, 1912. That's a 35-year span. When we talked to the individuals who knew about this quilt, they said, we think she worked on it for 35 years. Ironically, though, the quilt is not yet completed. One of the most fascinating things about the quilt is the picture of the maker, Mrs. Ricard, which is printed with probably a lithographic technique and included on the quilt, and that's really unusual and probably was pretty expensive to do because we don't see it on many pieces. In fact, I've only seen it on a handful of pieces and throughout all of our knowledge of quilts, but she obviously felt it was important to include her own portrait on what was her masterpiece. This has probably the most incredible array of embroidery stitches you'll ever see on a crazy quilt. It was actually created in a block format because there's no backing under the quilt. It's not quite finished. So you can see how she created blocks first and laid down the various pieces of luxury fabrics, but then went back and covered all of those seams. So you have no sense of the block format when you look at the top of the quilt. But literally every single piece of fabric in the piece has been embellished in some way with embroidery stitches. Even if it had a design already, she would add another element to that with her embroidery stitches. So you can imagine how this might have taken 35 years to complete. Most of our visitors know this quilt because it was featured on the cover of Penny McMorris's seminal book called Crazy Quilts. And so it's quite famous and quite popular, and it's really fun to pull out this drawer to show the piece to our visitors that come on our behind-the-scenes tour because it's like seeing an old friend here at the museum. They know it so well.